Captain's log. Sailing vessel Aequus. Day 7. Seas 4 meters. That's 12 feet. Overcast. Wind 27.2 knots, gusting to 33. Medium speed broad reach, 7 knots at 086 degrees. We're heading right for the Azores. Total engine hours, 10. Nautical miles to destination, 836. The weather is picking up. It's been so long since I've sailed in weather like this, and crazy as it might sound, man, I've missed it. The last time I was in similar weather was 2 years ago, nearly to the day, I think, delivering a boat across the Pacific, from Hawaii to San Francisco. That boat was a Mason 63, and hands down the best sailing boat I have ever had the pleasure of captaining. If you haven't seen those videos, there's 4 of them in a series. Please click on the little icon at the top right of your screen. That was a very special trip, and it shines through on the video. That boat is actually for sale. If I was looking for a boat right now, that would be very high on my list. Okay, back to the wind. There's something about weathering powerful winds while 600 miles from land in all directions. It's humbling in a way words can't describe. But what I can say is, it's a dichotomy. It makes you feel so small and so powerful at the same time. It's impossible not to think about the thousands of people that came before you, sailing across oceans in wooden barks or Polynesian proas. I'm not a religious man, but out here I'm closer to God than anywhere else on earth. Now, all of these good feelings hinge on one thing: the boat. I've never experienced it, but I can imagine being offshore on a shoddy boat that you can't trust must be a completely different feeling. Wait a minute. I remember one night, the night my catamaran ripped in half. That's a hell of a story, but one for another time. For the last few days, we've had nothing but rough seas, high winds, and violent motion. All 31 tons of us are getting tossed around like a little rubber ducky out here in the open sea. The air is thick with this pure, powerful, palpable energy. Speaking of dichotomies, it's invigorating and frightening both at the same time. I can see it in the crew. Every one of us is energized. Simple tasks are becoming monumental in this sea state. Making tea is exhausting. Doing work is exhausting. Going to the bathroom is, well, challenging. I slowed down the boat at sunset. Too bad, because we were so near breaking 200 miles today. Oh well, 198.3 nautical miles in the last 24 hours is still our passage best. Can we just round it up at this point? But we cannot break the cardinal rule: always take a reef at night. We'll have to make it up when the sun comes up tomorrow. I'm so glad we're going downwind right now. Some of these waves are over 12 feet high. We wouldn't make much forward progress the other way around. We started towing a 100-foot line today. The theory is that if someone were to fall, they could grab that and pull themselves back into the boat. That said, it is very difficult, especially with clothes on. More like they can hold on for as long as they can and have a chance to scream and wake up the crew. I was anchored in an atoll once in the Tuamotus, right near the entrance, and I decided to test this theory out. The current was ripping, like 6 or 7 knots. So I anchored right in the middle of the channel and put out a 300-foot rope. I tied a knot in the end and jumped in the water. Grabbed the rope, got to the end of it, and proceeded to pull myself back into the boat, just to see if I could. I was so physically exhausted afterwards, but I made it. But I was just wearing shorts. I can just imagine wearing a whole set of foulies with a sweater would definitely hinder your progress. Speaking of lines, we got spooled again today. Damn it. Fishing off a boat this big is hard. We got back there fast, as soon as we heard it. We turned the boat hard, we stopped the forward progress, and as soon as we stopped, the line snapped. I'm thinking we need a better setup, like a bigger reel or heavier gauge line. I'm not really sure, but this just isn't working. I feel bad for the fish, swimming around with this big-ass lure sticking out of his mouth. Maybe it'll fall off and just the hook will remain, effectively making that fish a pirate. I've seen plenty of pirate sharks. I know it sounds really messed up, but they look really cool like that. I wonder if they're running around showing off to their friends. The one with the most hooks in his mouth is the coolest cat around. Currently, we're triple reefed on the main and single reefed on the jib. Now that makes sense because that's balancing the sails, as the main is way bigger than the jib is. As I'm writing this, I'm looking down at the instruments, which are a little messed up now. They say we've got 15 knots of current in our face. That's impossible. We'd be going backwards. I think something happened to the speed wheel, but I'm not about to pull it out in these kinds of seas. I actually hate those things. One almost sunk my boat, and ever since I've been a bit weary of them, so we're just going to leave that thing where it is. The wind instruments are working now. They're showing 32 knots. The boat is handling it well, and the crew is also. Everybody on the crew can kind of sleep, but not in the front cabin. Not sure Philippa would like this trip much. That's the owner's wife. You saw her on the video tour of this boat. The way this boat has been designed, it's got a very smooth, flat bottom, making her a dream to sail around in light winds or in a bay, and making her turning radius nearly zero. We can turn on a dime in a marina. The problem with this flat, smooth bottom profile is she pounds in the waves, like bad. Luckily, we're going downwind. Upwind would be hell in these conditions. I have a feeling that sometime during this trip, we're going to end up in something like that. Call it a hunch. Overall, right now, we're all fairly comfortable, we're dry, we're warm, and most importantly, we're safe. That is about all a captain can ask for.